Welcome to Savvy Business, Life Unscripted with your host, Christina Rivera, where our guests share their wisdom and valuable business tips, empowering our audience to expand their personal potential.
Hello, Raghu. Welcome to Savvy Broadcasting, Life Unscripted. I'm so grateful to have you here. Raghu Kalé has written this wonderful book, everyone. You must go get it. We've had people on before talking about customer service and how to, provide that quality customer care as the age of technology grows and it's getting harder to keep that real connection going. Raghu is going to share his insights on how and his perspective on adding real connection and how loyalty and sacrifice kind of play intertwined connection with each other. So welcome, Raghu, to Savvy Broadcasting.
Thank you for having me, Christina. Thank you very much.
You betcha. So what prompted you to write your book?
Over the years, I have been working with the Tata conglomerate with several businesses across the world, and we were engaged in looking at the systems view of organization and worked in various capacities. And time and again, I recognize the fact that employees go beyond the call of duty, and they do that because they are passionate about something. Mm-hmm. I also looked at the stories for war veterans and heroes and all that. We had our own share of doing that. Mm-hmm. When we had the attacks, there were several cases where I was looking at why do employees really go beyond the call of duty? And the fact that sacrifice is somehow embedded in this. It's elusive. It's not right in the face, but it's there. Mm-hmm. You do it for your country, you do it for your family, you do it for your clan, you do it for your purpose, the cause. So sacrifice is almost there, but it is unseen in a way. Mm. And then when I look at customers, and then you have the word loyalty being used very liberally around saying, are customers capable of sacrifice? Mm-hmm. Then my colleagues, associates, others said, no, they're not supposed to sacrifice. They are bargain hunters. You don't give them value for money, they don't get it. Mm-hmm. And so this played on my mind for a while. And I came up with this whole construct of there are blind spots and we are not able to see that. And why it is relevant? It's relevant today because with the progress in digital, there's so much measurement going on. People are able to use AI algorithms to look at facial expressions. And mm-hmm. I think we know about people more than they know about themselves. Perhaps we're coming to that stage. Mm-hmm. And so it's relevant that if we don't understand or sharpen the basic definitions, then the algorithms and the technology will only be limited to that extent. So I think there's a great opportunity here that we have looked at a surrogate measure of repeat purchase mm-hmm. for customer loyalty. But I think we have to go beyond this. Okay. And this book really touches upon a unified definition of loyalty, which is common to any segment, any group, mm-hmm. whether it is war veterans, employees, customers, shareholders, whatever you have. So mm-hmm. it really goes one level down to redefine or define what loyalty really means.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you're right. It's thrown about kind of like that word authenticity thrown about. And you're like, well, what exactly does it mean? It's kind of lost its realness. It's kind of the extent of what it really means. What have you defined as far as the deep reality of loyalty? It's not just what people think it is. Well, go into that a little bit.
See, there are what I did was when I started to engage with the subject and started to look at it, where is this really going? I had to get 2 steps below and look at what loyalty is all about. And in order for me to go ahead and look at how customer loyalty or employee loyalty has to be looked at, what kind of principles drive that behavior, I had to first go down and redefine or define the parameters of loyalty. And I have defined some 4 axioms of loyalty. And the favorite of mine is the axiom of futility. You have strong men demanding loyalty, and you have seen that through the ages. Mm-hmm. From, the several places you've seen that, mm-hmm. strong men would demand loyalty. And so it has, when you define what loyalty is all about, there are 4 axioms of that. Mm-hmm. And based on those 4 axioms, then you have a clarity of what loyalty really means. And sacrifice is very much embedded in it. I won't go into the 4 axioms, which is very much there, but From there, we moved on and then looked at almost 30 accounts of real life stories, which includes, by the way, behavior on customer side and the sacrifices customers have made, and which is a blind spot for the marketeers to some extent.
Yes.
Maybe in some cases they are aware, but they are not really taking heed to that. In some cases, you're probably, because the defining parameters are not on the radar screen, so sacrifices are getting lost. And so this book really brings that out. It's a very interesting, fascinating book, I guess.
No, it is. And it's something that really not looked upon deeply, which is very important, because here's the deal. I've gone into companies, they've asked me to consult, and I see these employees really putting their blood, sweat, and tears into their position, whatever it is. And at the end of the day, yes, they get a paycheck, but no recognition, no understanding of what their crew is doing for them to keep their business running. And there's like the disconnect between management, top officers, and the employees. And then that goes off to then the customers feeling like we are not really understood. So it breaks down the channels of each.
Absolutely. There's a whole cascading effect that takes place, and the whole idea of what is nurturing a work culture, really? How do you bring that ecosystem of people feeling that the institution is much more relevant and important than your own? If you look at Navy SEALs, for that matter, their integrity and their moral compass, their vision, their purpose, I think there are some institutions which are far beyond. And there's loyalty and sacrifice. If you look at these kind of organizations who have stood the test of time, it takes, so the application of this book is not just in the business side, but the business side is most visible, and of course, but it'll touch several areas, I think.
Including your personal life.
Oh, yeah. All the time. I don't talk about any of my personal experiences here.
Yeah.
But, because, that's another book perhaps, but this
that's
one
coming up soon.
Very, very, no, I don't think so. I wrote it back.
Okay. But Raghu, what's amazing to me, and why I think every business owner and every person should pick up your book, Sacrifice and Loyalty, is because for employees to understand the greater depth of how you can add to your society, to your business, to your community, to the country, wherever it is, that you have something deeper than just going to a job. And I think that's I feel. Oh, okay. Because when I talk to people, they say to me, I'm not giving recognition. I want more money. But money, as both of us know, is only a very small fraction. You get a little bit of money today, you'll be good for about a month, and then you'll start falling off the wagon. And it needs to be deeper. And that's why, yeah. And then again, this also spreads to loyalty from customers. What I love, and I've gotten this, I worked with this one company, had customer from day one. They've been in business 13 years. And then they started to get new customers. This customer didn't order as much as they did in the past. Now they're doing better. They're getting bigger clients. This customer fall by the wayside. They don't pay attention much to them. But they said, hey, I was here from day one. And in my head, like you were thinking, why don't you go to somewhere else where you'd get better quality? But it's kind of like we're creatures of habit. Yes, we worked with these people from day one, but if we're not getting what we need and being provided that quality that we need for our lives to make our lives better, there's nothing wrong with looking elsewhere.
Absolutely. But that's the kind of elasticity that you have. You get used to it, and then it's very difficult to break away in a sense. But coming to marketing, what this book is really going to do is 3 levels. I think senior leadership, board members and people who are leading their organizations, the thought leadership, which really comes on from boardrooms and CEOs and others, once they understand and absorb this, I think this is a great conversation with the senior leadership of organizations.
Yeah.
Then comes the people who are engaged in designing systems around how customer measurement happens. I think the whole idea for marketing heads and the consultants around and all of that, all the CRM systems and technology, that is the second tier. But I think the top tier needs to engage and have those conversations, and I'm sure thought leaders from the marketing world as well will start participating in that. And the third one will be the academia. I think they are very important partners in this, and the kind of research that needs to go, because for 200 years customers have been enticed to come back for more by giving some goodies or something. So repeat purchase is the only major driver, which is the axiom of futility. You can't demand loyalty. So it really connects into that axiom of saying that you can't demand loyalty just by giving some, goodies and, asking to come back. And so it opens up a very fascinating new discussion. And I've had some conversations with my colleagues and my focus group that I put together. And it was a great focus group. I think Australia, UK, India, Singapore, Canada, East Coast, West Coast, a few people, so about 12 people, senior members, CEOs and board members, and work with the Fortune 100 companies. They have this conversation and they said, hey, Raghu, you got something here. I think you should put this out. So I was able to bounce up with these senior people around the world, and they all said that this is something fantastic.
It is. And you mentioned something interesting here. You mentioned the goodies, the customer, throw them some goodies, they'll be loyal. And as we both know, that's not going to make a loyal customer. People give me free things and the quality care, I don't feel they're in it for me. They don't really feel that caring, that sense of real service that you talked about in your book.
The mom and pop stores didn't need a CRM system back in the day. They just knew that business was about connecting with people and connecting at the human level. Somewhere we have lost that humanity of connecting with people from the genuine heart. Yeah. That is missing. And because the clutter of processes, the systems, the technology, and measurement, wrong stuff, that sometimes the dangerous part I find is that there is measurement for the sake of measurement, because you're going to get your bonuses based on that. So you're going to chase those numbers, fill those forms, make it happen. I think this has been the case for last 200 years. This has evolved in a way that we are looking at surrogate measured as repeat purchase. And this is a departure from what we have known and adhered to as far as the customer loyalty is concerned. We're going to break, or hoping to break, the trajectory of what we've done for 200 years.
Yeah, because what's really being lost is that human spirit. And interesting, when you mentioned goodies, I recall a number of the big businesses I work with in Manhattan are bringing to their employees a lot of these fun goodies or extra bonuses, like we'll have free lunch on Wednesdays, or this, a little perk here, a little perk there, food in the kitchen. But when I talk to the employees of a lot of these businesses, they're still not feeling cared for, that general sense of, I really, really care about you. So that's why when you mentioned the goodie thing, I like that you bring that up, because it's not just about throwing stuff at your customers or employees. It's got to come from the right heart space.
Yeah, I think one of my senior directors from the Tata conglomerate that I worked for, in the 60s, he made this, I think, statement that we have to treat customers with affection. I've never heard that kind of a term clubbed together. And he was the head of an automotive company. And I think there is sensibilities in some quadrants somewhere. People think about it and do that. I was really thrilled when Dr. Edward De Bono, who's the guru of lateral thinking, agreed to write the preface to my book, because he could see where I'm going. And looking at the 4-page note, I think he was very much, and Mr. Ratan Tata also wrote the foreword, if you have looked at it. So 2 luminaries and my first book, and I was very happy that yes, there is something that has been put out. I thought about this for about 7, 8 to 10 years, I guess, in my mind.
Wow.
I wrote a paper and then I talked about it here and there, but I think it had to come up as a book, so I did it.
Oh, that's something, that comes about a lot for the businesses that have come on the show. They'll have this idea to bring benefit or service to the world, and it'll be rattling in their head for years until finally it comes out in a work, in your case a book, in other cases a business idea. But this is fabulous. I don't want people to leave without finding out how they can get a copy of your book today, add it to their business, and how can they do that?
Amazon and Apple. I think it's available on Amazon as we speak, as a printed copy in the US, and I'm told that the worldwide part of the printed copies will be in about a few weeks, but the ebooks are already available on Amazon, starting now.
Yeah, and do you have a audio version yet or not?
Audio version, we're working on this, and audio version should also be out in about a week or 10 days. Perfect. And there's some people are also saying that we have to get some translations in some other languages as well. We will look at it next year.
That's great. That's great, because so many of my business owner out there are like, I'm too busy, I can't read. Well, no worries. In 10 days, you can go get your audio copy so you can listen to it on your run in the morning.
Audiobooks, ebooks, and printed versions, because some people really like the old-fashioned printed copies.
I do personally. I like to feel it in my hands. Well, thank you so much, Raghu. I'm really grateful for you coming to share your great wisdom today on Savvy Broadcasting Life Unscripted.
Thank you very much, and all the very best. And have a nice week.
You too.
Thank you.
If you like this episode, please share. To hear more Savvy episodes and Savvy Biz tips, go to lifeunscriptedradio.com. To become a guest or participate in paid sponsorship, email us at Christina@lifeunscriptedradio.com.